here this day in West Nile province, visiting different situations, where people in need of humanitarian assistance are, and this includes refugee camps composed of refugees out South Sudan, as well as Sudanese returnees that are being provided with shelter, health, water, sanitation, hygiene, and schooling for children, which are the usual main areas of focus in humanitarian assistance. We are here together with the Sudanese Red Crescent Society, which is the member of our organization, the International Federation of Red Cross and Red Crescent Society, which I lead, to the world's largest humanitarian network, as it is composed of 191 national societies working in 191 countries. So humanitarian response is our main business. But we never got used to humanitarian situation because it's about human suffering. It's about proud fathers and mothers who overnight find themselves in situations of vulnerabilities, and they turn into refugees, migrants, returnees, or beneficiaries of humanitarian assistance. It's about children who almost lose their childhood because having to witness and live through situations that the child should not witness or experience. It's about women and girls that find themselves in situations of vulnerabilities, and that is particularly true in such a situation because, as my colleagues of UNHCR were sharing with me, 85% of refugees sometimes in certain camps are women and children. So of course it is a humanitarian crisis at large, but if we look more precisely at the problem, it is a crisis for women and children that requires also a particular attention. What we saw is sobering in many ways, but it is also heartening in the other. It is heartening in a way that seeing host communities that are not very wealthy or well off opening their communities and opening their hearts to accept and welcome refugees and returnees is a good example of shared humanity that we can all get inspiration from. It is also heartening to see that the government opening borders, ensuring protection of people, and by so doing providing the enabling environment for humanitarian actors to operate and respond to the needs of people. And that is the reason why, alongside the Red Cross and Red Crescent, and in this particular situation, the Sudanese Red Crescent Society, we're seeing colleagues from the UNHCR, the World Food Programme, MSF, Médecins Sans Frontières, to name a few, that are also part of the response. That shows that it is a multi-dimensional issue that requires a multi-dimensional response, and each of the partners, together with the government, has a role to play. We have seen also the needs that are unmet in terms of scale. The scale, that of health needs, that are not commensurate, to the response. We see also the challenges that are related to water, sanitation, and hygiene. But we see a good base upon which one can build and continue to strive for excellence. On our part, we would like to congratulate the Sudanese Red Crescent for being a partner of choice of the government in this response, because that is what the auxiliary role of a Red Cross or Red Crescent Society is about. But also we commit together with the Sudanese Red Crescent Society to identify where those areas of high impact where we can improve together on, ranging from improved shelter to water, sanitation and hygiene, to health in particular, as well as also psychosocial support and caring for children that are really affected, so that they regain a sense of normalcy, and then they regain their childhood and then become valuable citizens of tomorrow, and not having to reproduce the kind of a hardship they have witnessed. So we are very committed in that regard, and we are very happy that we share together with the Sudanese Red Crescent Society that spirit of commitment, of engagement, and of principled humanitarian action to serving people in need, to alleviate human suffering, save lives, and most importantly, in this particular context, to accompany people to recover something which is very dear to them, and then they try to recover, which is their human dignity. Humanitarian action is about human dignity, and we all are committed to that. I didn't feel it as an attack. I felt that the government representative was expressing needs that are not fully met, and was calling on partners to step up to the plate in meeting those needs. And I would agree with them. So I think the response is not matching 100% the needs. As far as now the Sudanese Red Crescent Society is concerned, we believe that the commitment that the Sudanese Red Crescent Society has made was fulfilled. Those commitments do not cover all the needs. And I think that is the reason why it is calling upon all of us to see how we can build on the achievements that have been made so far, and then try to improve on. And that commitment, that is one we share with the Sudanese Red Crescent Society, and we will also deliver on those promises. The purpose of a visit is always to have a better sense of the realities that we face, and also hearing firsthand from people who are affected what the needs are, so that when you try to respond, you direct your response to the expectations of the people. So what can we expect? Of course, we can expect at least two things. One, from our side, the Red Cross and Red Crescent societies, together with the Sudanese Red Crescent, to work on further scaling up our response. That we can commit to do. But we have to be honest that the scaling up of the Sudanese Red Crescent response alone will not respond to all the needs. And I think there will be still unmet needs where everybody has to make an effort to do more and to do better, and that means all the partners. Second thing that we can do and we will do is to advocate with all our partners, and to advocate for the international community that this is a real humanitarian situation that should not be forgotten. It is a real humanitarian situation that should not be neglected, and it deserves to be supported in the way that is also matching the kind of a current situation that we're seeing. And of course we go back with that commitment, and with a real sense of urgency to communicate to ourselves and to all partners.